Welcome. Sit down, roll up, pour up, turn up and tune in. Because you're now watching the Buncher Bull Network.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the world's dopest podcast, the Marley State of Mind podcast. Down here at the Bunch of Bull Studios as per usual. And tonight, I got a special guest with me. I got my man, Billy Hoyle. What up?
Salute. Thanks for having me.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I
the
did.
tag, yeah.
The tag.
Yeah.
Tag. Nailed it. Nailed it for sure.
Yeah, man, it's nice to have you here. I usually like to kick off the podcast saying how I was introduced to the creative or the artist that I have in the room.
Okay.
For you, your name was always just in the stratosphere, the music stratosphere. And I'm not even sure how we met for the first time, bro, which is crazy. But I always knew about you, always knew of you. I was familiar with your work. And then whenever we did meet, however we did meet, it was always just like felt familiar. You know what I mean? You was always the homie from day one. And, you know, I mean, I became a fan of your work and the stuff that you did, and I love the bootleg joints that you do, the twists that you do, and you become real creative with content, and I definitely want to get into all of that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But how you feeling tonight, bro?
Good, man. I'm good.
Yeah?
It's a very, Pittsburgh February night.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
It's feeling appropriate. The groundhog he was on point.
He was accurate,
yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm feeling good, though. I'm feeling good.
Damn that groundhog, bro.
Yeah, right?
Damn, Phil. Yeah, you're a Yinzer for sure, huh? You're a true blue Yinzer.
I'm a suburban Yinzer.
I feel like if there was like a Yinzer in a dictionary, they probably would have like a picture of you.
Maybe, man. Modern age.
Yeah,
Yinzer,
you're top 5 Yinzer. It's like Pittsburgh dad's #1.
Oh man, that's a wild list. No, I feel you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Who's your top 5 Yinzers, bro? Who's your top 5 Yinzers as a Yinzer?
I don't know. They're probably like all my relatives. My mom definitely embodies it pretty well. I don't know. I guess it depends on how we're defining Yinzer, but just Mr. Rogers definitely has to be at the top of any Pittsburgh list. Okay, you know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know if I got a top 5 Yinzers.
That's a good one, man. You need to come up with that if you don't. If you don't already
have
one.
To. Yeah.
I never thought about that until this very moment. Like, who would be the top 5 Yinzers? Mikey and Big Bob.
Yeah, I feel like they have to be up there. I guess Brick. I guess Brick would definitely be on there for me.
Brick's top 5. Mount Rushmore Yinzer.
Just straight character, crazy dude from Pittsburgh would be Chopper, bumper bike dude. I'd probably have him on there. But,
for sure.
Yeah.
The Yinzers, man. Y'all make y'all top 5 Yinzers list. Send it over through. What up, Joe? We see y'all up in the comments tonight. Now, I usually like to take people on a journey, you know what I mean, with the person I have on.
Take me on a journey.
Yeah, man. We're gonna take the journey of your musical journey now. You're a dope ass producer, beat maker.
Good looks.
For you, when did it start? When did you get and fall in love with music? When did you decide you wanted to be a part of music? You wanted to be more than just a spectator. You wanted to be a participant in this thing of music. Was there a certain album that came out? Was there a certain beat or record you heard? What was it that inspired that for you?
It's a good question. I was playing instruments in elementary school.
Okay.
So I already had an interest in music on that level, but as far as
was it in your household? Was your family heavily dug into music?
I don't know. We listened to music for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I wouldn't say that my uncle, who was like pivotal in my upbringing, he played an instrument in high school and everything, and he thought it was important for him, me and his daughter to play an instrument. And he was just, he was pretty into music, but my mom's pretty into music, but I wouldn't say anyone else really played an instrument past high school where.
Was you taking it? Was you taking it serious, playing the instrument?
No, not really. I thought being a musician at that point in my life, I thought being a musician was an innate ability.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that I had that innate ability.
You thought just if you didn't figure it out off jump, it ain't for you.
Well, I didn't know that you could like progress. Like
Yeah.
I thought talent was like essentially linear,
Yep.
and you're born with it or you weren't. I like definitely wasn't talented, you know, like
Not naturally gifted anyway.
right, like I didn't look at it as like, you know, I'd been playing sports my whole life. Like if you put up enough shots, like you're gonna get nicer at it.
Right.
Like that made sense to me with sports, but it just took me a long time to see music that way.
Right.
You know.
What
So,
instrument was you playing?
I played trombone in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and then starting in 6th grade, I started to play the drums, and then I played drums until I graduated high school.
Okay, so you did stick with it though.
Yeah, I did. I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
I
did it click for you that you can progress in it? Seeing how you stuck with it, like was there a moment throughout your school years where you were playing like, yeah, I'm actually getting better at this shit?
I mean, I knew I progressed to like some level, right? But like everything's gonna have a ceiling. I don't know. I just like there wasn't like a ton of drive because like I wasn't gonna be in a band. Like that was
You didn't see a place for it in your life.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of kids out my way like were in bands and stuff, but that wasn't really like where my love of music was. And just, you know, growing up where I grew up during that time, like I definitely didn't think like being a producer, like what I do was a viable option. I didn't think that I could do it. Like,
As a career.
right. I didn't think I could do it at all. You know, like I didn't even know where to like start necessarily
Right.
with getting anything. So like, let alone a career, but just even doing it for fun. Cause that's all I was doing with band. I like making music or like being a part of that. But yeah, I guess at some point, like, you know, software became like obtainable enough for like really like my best friend in like maybe 7th or 8th grade downloaded a demo of FL Studio. And
Okay.
he would do that every once in a while, but it never really stuck because we didn't know how to use it that much. But
Y'all was just playing around with it basically.
right, and there wasn't a YouTube at that point, which
Yeah,
sounds,
exactly.
you know, but every once in a while I'd be able to like just make a drum beat in it. And then like once I got to college, like I don't know, people around like I started to be aware that like people in Pittsburgh were doing things like making music.
Making music, yeah.
And at some point I was just like, well, you know, that I was like,
Who did you become aware of at that time? You said you became aware of people in Pittsburgh were making music. Were you like a fan of these people making music? Who were like some of the first people that you heard early on?
The first people I heard in Pittsburgh making music were definitely like the GOV.
Okay.
Like definitely S and Bo for sure, Hard Times.
Yeah, man.
And then Wiz would have been next. And then there was like a rush of people. Like those all kind of happened like separate from one another.
Right.
And then I became aware of like a lot of people at once, but definitely like the first two were
That grabbed your attention anyway.
Beatty and Mac.
Oh, nice.
For sure. And
Yeah,
then like Fran and Vin.
Yeah.
And like Ghosty and Vills and that, and B White and Mayo.
Were you familiar with those guys as individuals? Because they all later became known as the 58s. Were you aware of them before they formed? Like, were you aware of like Fran's and independent stuff, Vinny's independent stuff, like
for sure.
the B White and Mayo joints?
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, probably like as East End Empire was a thing. I don't know, but like. Maybe like 2000, I knew about Mac and Beatty when I was in high school, and I graduated in 2008, like right at the end of that. So I knew they were doing it. And like, yeah, Fran and Vin around that same time for sure.
Yeah.
So like that time period, I'm not sure what they were doing. I'm not sure if like what the label was at that point. It definitely wasn't the 58 yet.
Right. Eastern Empire. If y'all are curious as to what that label was, man, check out the very first episode featuring Franchise. He talks about all that on that episode for sure.
Right, but that was like my real introduction in seeing like, you know, there's a progression as like an artist like that, and when S and Bo and really even Wiz came out, like they're pretty polished. And when I came across Mac and Beatty and everyone I'm talking about, they were polished as well. Not to take anything away from them, but I just like started to see the scene more, you know, and you saw people like right at the beginning of their journey and things like that. Just became like, you know, understanding that it was something that like I could get into.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Because that scene, when you say that, it makes me nostalgic of that scene. Because I remember discovering it in the same way and hearing it in pretty similar ways. And you know, Puffin' on a Perp was a
That song's 20 years old now, I think.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? If y'all not familiar, man, check out Puffin' on a Perp, Government Gang. Man, it's a Pittsburgh classic, a classic for sure. But songs like that, like you said, it sounded like industry stuff. It sounded like something you would hear on the radio, right? It sounded polished.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Now, this is when you got inspired to really take the beat making serious. I know you said you and the homie were playing on Fruity Loops.
I mean, I think there's like probably different points throughout like my career journey where I would define it a point of me like taking it seriously. Mm-hmm. You know, like I don't look back at that time and think I was taking it seriously, but like I was always serious about music.
Yeah.
But I was just like serious about learning how to make beats more than I was like ever releasing anything or ever sharing it with anyone. I just wanted to learn how to create.
Were you becoming passionate about it? Because you said at first it wasn't something that you were passionate about. It was kind of a passive thing. Was that when the passion started to come to you?
Well, I think the passion was always there. Just more so like wanting to like be seen as like an artist or as a producer.
Right.
Like I was still taking like the pursuit of it serious early on, but at that time I was just like, yeah, it was just me and my buddy. Like we were just making beats for each other. We weren't like, let's get this to a rapper.
Yeah.
Know? And then probably like, I don't know. Yeah, there's been different points where I was like, I'm going to go like, I understand how to like take this more seriously.
Yeah.
But it was always serious. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So you was doing it seriously. You just weren't aware of how to get that and make it more than what it was at that point.
Right. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. When did that become a reality? Who was the first artist that you started working with that you found like, okay, I can really have somebody going on these beats and sounding like something?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I don't know, because there's a point where, yeah, I mean, just I always felt like that, like with the artist, but be someone show you something where it makes sense to like start releasing it, and that's been, you know, throughout what I've done. Like there's a point where like Momo Nadon, him and I like came together. He was the first one I like did a full album with.
Okay.
So, but then like, you know, there'd be another point where like Hubs was putting things together, Beatty, like but you know, it just depends. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a shared vision with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, shout out Hubs, shout out Beatty. Definitely dope lyricists. And it seems like you tend to work with a lot of lyricists, rather intentionally or unintentionally. Is that some of your influences, like growing up? Like, were you a fan of lyricists?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then I think a lot of it was like proximity to people, like being at Time Bomb. Like I think that's what gravitated towards Time Bomb. So naturally, like that's who I was introduced to and familiar with. You know.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Time Bomb. It's come up a few times in different episodes with different artists that I've had on, because it is such a mecca for Pittsburgh hip hop. It's such a cornerstone for Pittsburgh hip hop. Right. It was always one of those spots. Like we had a few spots in the city where you can get local music.
Right.
But one of those pillars was certainly Time Bomb. Like if you wanted to get like the newest shit that came out, the hottest shit that came out, you had to go to Time Bomb to get that. Because that's where everybody wanted to be at, because they knew that very same thing. So if you're an artist coming out in the city of Pittsburgh, you wanted to have your music in Time Bomb because that was prestigious. You're up there with S Money and Boaz and Wiz.
And just like there was a point where like music's so accessible at this point.
Right.
Like almost all forms of music. And like you're talking like 2006. It's not like the internet wasn't around. But yeah, like, you know, it wasn't like necessarily.
It wasn't streaming as we know now.
Right.
It was like LimeWire, Napster, shit like that type streaming. But it wasn't where every artist had accessibility to have their music streaming.
Right. So like physical media obviously was like the big point at that.
Right.
But like, you know, physical media can only be placed certain places.
Right.
Like same way now, like anyone can upload anything to anything. Yeah,
exactly. Right. From you can be in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, and you can upload your music and I can hear about you.
Right. Yeah. So stores like Time Bomb and, you know, Blasphemy.
Steadiford's.
Right. 100%. Anywhere
Soul
that
to
there was
Soul?
like, soul
Yeah.
to soul
Yeah.
they were so important. Or like, they became like, meccas or like
Yeah.
congregating spots. Shadow Lounge in its own right too.
Oh, yeah,
just
for
from
sure.
a live music venue.
Yeah. Yeah, we also spoke about Shadow Lounge quite a few times here, as you
Right.
can imagine, being one of those meccas of. It's a shame that it's not around anymore because it was such a great venue, such a venue where you felt like it was safe. You know what I mean? You never had to worry
Yeah.
about no BS at Shadow Lounge, and
Yeah, it was
everybody
a
made
good
their
group of
bones
people.
there. Yeah, it was a good group
Because
of
it was
people.
like, it was a little cutty spot. Like it's hidden, like, was like, for the most part, you had to like know someone to know someone.
Right.
Like not that it like their shit wasn't out there weren't flyers or anything, but
Right.
word of mouth was just like word of mouth still the most powerful, medium of them all. But at that time, that was really how you were
That
gonna
was
find
that
out
was the
about
social
something.
media.
Right.
Word of mouth was the social media you had.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So now you said you linked up with artists like Hubs and BD. During that time, as you're making the music and you're hearing these wordsmith lacing your records, what was the feeling that you had? Did you feel like, all right, I'm on to something? Like I got something going here.
I was a fan of like, I was such a fan of Hubs and such a fan of BD. Like even knowing them personally at the time, I was still such a fan that it seemed like, I don't know, it was just seemed like fun. Like I was like, oh, this is tight.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Since you're a fan of these people, like it's dope to hear your music in their hands.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because like the people they were working with before me are the people that inspired me to do what I do. Like
That's fine.
P Fish or like Big Germ or like
Yeah.
like Sledger and Johnny Giuliano. So like, to look up to all these people because they were doing it before me and they're just I loved what they did. Yeah, it just seemed like an honor or privilege. It still does to be able to work with so many people that like I looked up to.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, what up, Kev? We see you. No, that's fire. No, you make a good point because like your predecessors and the people that you were inspired by, you're working with artists that they worked with, and you're also fans of these guys, and you're making music with these guys now, right?
Right.
You're being considered amongst these guys as a peer now, right?
Right.
Now you're making that transition. What was your favorite song from that era when early on with like BD or Hubs or whomever? What was like your favorite jams from that era that you produced?
Shit, I don't know. Those are two different eras. There's this one Hubs joint I did on Modern Vintage 3 that was definitely like a felt like a milestone, you know what I mean? And then with BD, I mean, we have like albums together, but
Yeah.
his like return album, Good Things Take Time, we did a joint called Then and Now, and that was like real monumental. So it was a joint we did like during the process of the first album, Beat Billy Hoyle.
Yeah.
But it was like he was working on that solo project at the time too, and it was kind of like a precursor to everything we had, so that like kind of kicked it off. But I'd been around BD and listened to his music and looked up to him for so long, and he was there for like majority of the journey of me making beats from like pretty early on, me really not having like a ton of experience, not really making what we wanted to hear, but
Yeah.
being able to make like Zelda type beats like,
Yeah.
unintentionally, to then like being able to work with him, like I don't know, that joint was like a milestone joint too. Yeah
It seems like you and BD have a great chemistry together. You guys collaborated on a lot of stuff at this point together. And like you said, it was a milestone. Let's go back to the Hubs joint on Modern Vintage 3. What made that a milestone record for you? That the record that you're talking about. What made you feel that way?
I mean, that was just like kind of a goal I had, right? Like to work with Hubs. Like Hubs was so ill to me.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the first, like, because like how it goes with like making a song. Like someone might have that song for 2 years before it comes out.
Yeah.
Like I think we had like recorded a few joints by that point, but like that was the first one to really come out and like come out on like a physical medium. Like he had CDs. It just it was a goal of mine to work with him. And so that's the milestone.
No, that's a good point, bro. Because like even if you work with somebody at that time, it doesn't mean that they're going to be actually release it with a physical copy. Like once again, this is an era that predates streaming, and it wasn't as easy to distribute music as it is today.
Right.
So even if you are working with someone and it is whomever, you don't know what the hell is going to happen with that music.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
Is that
I've worked with
frustrating? Have you worked on things before that you were happy with? So let me rephrase it. Let me go back with that. Did you work on things, you know, even now or at that time that you were happy with, that you were excited about, that you were looking forward to hearing released and it didn't get released? Because you're a producer, so it's only so much that you can do once you give the
a
beat
lot's
to the
out of my
artist.
hands.
Yeah.
I think that's like, there's a reason I do like the bootleg projects. There's a reason like I do a lot of instrumental tapes. There's a reason I work with like a lot of different artists like frequently, and it's to offset that, you know. A lot of that is out of my hands, so it's like, let me focus on what I can control, and it's being productive in these other areas while that's going on. But like, yeah, I mean, there's people I've worked with that like, you know, people ask you like, oh, who have you worked with, right? Sizing you up, whether it's like a coworker or someone you meet. And there's definitely like a lot of people I can't mention because it's just like the songs have never come out. But I've produced like 5-10 joints for some of the people, and it's just some people's process of making music. I mean, you release a 10 track album, you might have recorded like, you know, recorded 60 songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least use
That's
60 beats.
That's the behind the scenes that people don't know about. Like your casual consumer doesn't understand.
Right, yeah. Because, you know, there's phases to an album. Like, if you look at someone like Wiz might come off releasing an album, and, like, realistically, he, you know, maybe it's not best to use names at all or anything, but,
yeah,
like, an artist that's up there, like, their label might not let them release an album for another 3 years, right?
Right.
And I don't know, like, a lot of that music they're going to record is going to sound great to them then. Like, that's going to be the vision they have then. You know what I mean?
Then
and
when
like,
it's time to actually release the music.
Right. That album, like, the idea, the shaping of an album, like, I don't know, it might change 30 times. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
It might become something of its own. Like, a lot of times it's just, like, the best way to do it is when the album comes together. You know what in my opinion.
No, that's actually a good point. I never thought about it in that regard, especially when it comes to major artists or signed artists, right? They're working on projects and they're not necessarily on their timeline. They may be on the label timeline. So as they're making the music, it sounds fresh in their ears. It sounds good. But after a year or two of listening to the same thing or hearing it, it doesn't sound as fresh. It doesn't sound the same.
Right.
And you might not have the same interest. Yeah.
You know, the goal is timeless music.
Yeah.
So if you can't wait 2 years to put the song out, like when you get to a certain level, then the song's probably not worth putting out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes it's got to stand the test of time. But yeah, I mean, that can be frustrating. Like a lot of things are out of your hands, but it's why I try to like handle things the way I do and stay busy.
No, you made a good point. I like what you said about you. That's why you work with who you work with to offset that. Which is was that like a trial and error process? When did you get to the point where you're like, let me be a little bit more selective about who I choose to do music with? What brought you to that point?
I was always pretty selective.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I was always selective because I wanted to work like, I don't know, like, I wanted my shit to be heard a certain type of way, right?
Right.
Like, I still want it to be heard a certain type of way. And I have to, like, trust the person. I have to think the person's, you know, I have to think you're ill. Like, I can't, like, otherwise, like, I'm only going to use a beat once. Like, I don't, like, lease beats. I try not to do that. Like,
why is that? Why do you try to avoid that process? Because it's not a uncommon place for producers to do that.
I mean, I have a philosophy behind it, but realistically, it's like, I just don't want to keep track of that.
Okay.
Like, that seems like a hassle to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to whoever does it, but, like, I also think, like, philosophically, like, I don't know, like, I never wanted to be, like, commodified.
Yeah.
I didn't want, like, Pittsburgh's a small city. If I'm working with all Pittsburgh artists, like, I don't know. I've just always had, like, a certain approach or, like, vision for mine, and, like,
you don't want two artists to be at a showcase together or a show together, and all of a sudden it's the same Billy Hoyle, what up?
Right.
Then it's the same joint comes on back to back.
And like a lot of that's like out of respect to the artist too.
Yeah.
It's not just like out of respect to myself,
Yeah.
right? Like I like the work. I think my work sounds best lined up to other pieces of my work.
Okay.
I like to produce like full albums more than like have one-offs too. So it's like if I give someone a beat and then it can't be used for the album later, like, you know. So
No, that's do you do a lot of collab projects that way? Does it always start off? Let me rephrase this. Let me think of how to get into this. How do you know that you want to do an album with an artist? Does it start off as a single sometimes? Because you said you don't like to do that.
yeah, it will just like it normally starts off just working with someone, and like the biggest thing with like making an album would probably be like once I peep someone's work ethic.
Mm.
If I know like you work a similar type of way, or like you can stay focused and like
Show consistency.
right. And I would say that's a big part of it. Like you got to be ill, and then I like we'll just be working on something, or I send beats to a lot of people, and then if I think you're ill, I'll send beats to you, and then if I like what I'm getting back and like the process and everything going into it, like it might not be right away. With some people, it's like I've been working with this dude for like probably 5 years,
Yeah.
probably longer. My homie Bossy, and I just hit him up like a week or two ago, and I was like, "Do you want to like do the project?" And that's normally how it works. Like once it makes sense to me, and
You like for it to happen organically.
organically for sure.
Yeah, no forced effort into it.
Right.
I could feel that. I feel like better music comes from an organic process.
Yeah, I look at like music very holistically. So I think
Mm-hmm.
like what you're putting into it and like the two people, like that shit matters. to
Yeah,
me.
100%.
Especially if you're doing a full album, like you really have to like. It can sound disconnected real quick, like. Yeah, like even for the samples you're putting over, like the movies you're sampling and shit. Like,
Right. You like a theme with your music.
For sure. Yeah,
That's fair.
for sure. I like it to sound a certain way.
You want it to be consistent. I feel
Yeah.
that. Now, while we're here, why don't you tell the people how to get a hold of you on social media? They want to follow you.
Billy_Hoyle
Yeah.
412. I'm pretty much everything, or Billy Hoyle 412 without
Yeah.
the underscore is probably one or the other. But yeah.
For sure. Billy Hoyle. What inspired that name? It's a popular movie, of course, but
Right.
what inspired you to become Billy Hoyle?
It was just something that like people would say, just like hooping,
Yeah.
growing up. Like there's a lot of basketball I played where I might have been like the white, like, the one white kid.
Yeah.
So Billy Hoyle, but as far like no one was calling me that as like a nickname to stick. You know what I mean? Like
It became
they
some
would-
passive funny type shit.
Right, yeah. They
Yeah.
call me Billy Hoyle. They call my homie like Steve Blake or
Yeah.
something, like shit like that. And at some point it was just like really like with social media, I didn't want to use my real name.
So you had to find a tag for yourself.
Yeah, and I was just like, people would call me Billy Hoyle. At some point, I thought
It
it
just
was
stuck with you.
Yeah, he was a hustler. Like
Yeah.
he was balling. So yeah,
You
Billy
fucked
Hoyle.
with his swag.
Yeah, for sure.
White Man Can't Jump, for those who don't know the movie
Right.
we're referencing.
Right. Woody Harrelson, not Jack Harlow.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes, the OG version.
Yeah, but it just came it was really Brick that made it like stick, and just like kept like every time I come in the store, call me Billy Hoyle, and then at some point I was like, that's not my real name, right? And he was just like, it's better sometimes people don't know your real name. Like,
No, that's fire. I know we touched on it a little bit, and then we kind of strayed away from it. But you said your time working at Tom Bomb,
right.
kind of helped with your music as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I was just extremely like privileged to be frequently in, conversations like 6 days a week just with people who cared about hip hop in
Yeah.
a certain type of way.
Because of what Tom Bomb was, because of all the
Right.
things we mentioned earlier. That's how we because we were talking about how much it was a pillar and how much it was a mecca for music. It ended up being like a meeting place for creatives who were doing music, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say so. And like, a lot of that was like my first time, like, I don't know, experiencing culture on that level. It's not everywhere around here. So yeah, I was very fortunate. We would do in stores a lot, or have like DJs come in and like, you know, people I really look up to, like Tony Touch or Static Selecta and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
just, you know, getting
Those guys kind of made this their second home. Some of those guys you
right,
named.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah,
And shout out to Brick, right, for building
for sure.
that type of
100% shout out
that
to
type of
Brick.
environment.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just getting to experience on that, like, it was intoxicating.
Did you
know
make
what
some
I mean?
meaningful? I mean, obviously Brick, right, being one of the
Yeah, I talk to Brick like
one of
damn
those
near every day.
connections. But did you make some meaningful connections with your music during your time with Tom Bomb? Did you make do some good networking?
I wasn't like super forthright about doing music at that time. Like, one, because I just like wasn't on that level. Like, I wasn't gonna tell Static I made beats because like if he was like, oh, play them, I wasn't gonna want to play
Right.
what I was like, where I was at that point. And like, I don't know, I didn't want to put. I was in that position for a reason, right? Like, and part of that reason was like Brick trusted me not to, you know what I mean? Like, maybe do that. So now,
Exploit the situation.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
I never really pushed it that time. And I had so many friends that were doing music, it was easy to like, you know.
Parlayed into what you
Right.
needed to be anyway,
Yeah.
without using that avenue.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I don't think I really like, you know, connections like hubs and just, you know, artists that would come in for sure. But
Yeah.
like, there was never anyone like, you know, from out of town or anyone like that I was
Yeah.
like trying to push it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's dope, bro. So you do that. You're making the jams. You said the modern vintage joint comes out. That's a milestone for you because you worked with an artist that you looked up to, you wanted to work with. What followed that? I know we kind of jumped ahead to the BD stuff. I know that comes a little bit later. What followed that modern vintage run?
I think Momo and Adon and I were working on an album called Travel Through at the time. I'm not like 100% on the timeline.
Sure.
But I think that's what was going on. And then like, yeah, that was the first like first like album I released with someone.
Yeah.
And that felt like a milestone too, just like having a collection of my, you know, I'd produced a ton of like one-offs and like people had like purchased beats from me that were like older and put together projects with them and stuff. But like be in the studio with someone, be like, sonically, that we want this to sound this way. Like,
You said that's more your zone anyway, is locking in with an artist.
that was kind of the reason why.
Yeah.
Like that experience, I was like, I don't know, like, I guess it's like a control thing to some degree.
Yeah.
And it like you can take like a vision further, like you can take a sound further that way. It's just kind of like what I thought about hip hop coming up too, to be real.
Yeah.
You know, I came up off like, I don't know, like Gangstar for sure. Like that's how I looked at it.
The producer MC combination.
Right. So there's something to me that's just alluring on like just a level of it being alluring.
Yeah.
You know, or like nostalgic almost.
Yeah, no, and like I said, you still keep that going today. So you're doing that project, you're making the music, you're networking, you're working with other artists. At what point did you feel like validated in that, or have you felt validated in that? What point did you feel like, damn,
That probably
like,
goes back and forth sometimes.
Yeah,
You know, how
yeah.
validated you're feeling. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's like markers along the way where you feel a certain like validation, like, you know, maybe so-and-so hits you up for beats or you have something come out with so-and-so. It's always validating, you know, but yeah, there's validation points.
you've had different moments of that with different, like you said, different artists reach out to you, and you're like, damn, I didn't even know you didn't know I did stuff. Like you had
Right.
moments like that.
Yeah, and you know, I think throughout this, like you have it like on a Pittsburgh level, right? Like certain
course.
Pittsburgh artists, and then like you start to get hit up by artists outside of Pittsburgh and like artists on a certain level, and each step of the way, it's like that feeling.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
further validates what you're doing on an even higher level.
Sometimes you just need a reminder. Like sometimes,
Yes.
like I just got my head down. Like, you know, look at the studio. Like I try to get shots up every day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I try to be in there every day. Like
you approach it like an athlete. You approach it like a player.
right, like a craft. Like just something that I can. It's the best use of my time. It's like where my head's the most clear. Just like it's the best place for me to be, you know? And sometimes that might just look like bringing a kick into a session and like manipulating a sample 100 times, like 100 different ways, just like with no real end goal.
Right.
You know, sometimes that looks like that, but I don't know. I forget where I was going with that. But
Putting in the work into the craft to get that validation. But
sometimes you just like, you're moving like that for so long. Like, it's just what you do. Like, I've been moving like that since like 2008. Like, it's like, I don't have like, I just really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I don't always have like these like, this needs to happen and this needs to happen and this needs to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I love doing it, right? And then like every once in a while something will happen.
No, and
like,
that's what we were.
hard.
You said it comes in and out. Like sometimes you need that reassurance, that re-boostment or a different type of validation. You said it comes in and out because we as artists, it's hard to gauge success and what success looks like, and you don't even know who's watching half the time, right?
Right.
And sometimes that is what gives you that validation, is someone reaching out and saying, "Oh, I love that what you did with this," and you're like, "Damn, I didn't even know people were paying that attention," and all of a sudden someone shows you that they are paying attention. So no,
I think like do it for yourself, and then like when there is external validation, like it just like, I don't know, that can't be like what your car runs on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Your vehicle can't run on that. Like I've seen
it dries up quickly.
I've been doing this a long time. I've seen a lot of people like like burn out or like fall out of love. Like we all did this because we loved it, right? At certain points, like certain things fell into place, and like certain things like certain aspects of it turn into a business. But like realistically, you do it because you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't get in there and do it every day if I didn't just like love it.
No, that's a good point, bro.
So yeah, I mean, you burn out though because you seek, in my opinion, you burn out because you seek the external validation.
Yes.
You don't, like, as long as you keep yourself fulfilled,
right?
I mean, you can keep moving forward. So like, you collect those like cool little goals. Like when I'm playing PlayStation, like I don't look at like every trophy I can collect. Like every once in a while I do something and I get a trophy and I'm like, oh yeah, that's tight.
Yeah, I didn't even know it came with that. Yeah,
exactly. But I don't sit there and be like, oh yeah, let me get this trophy. Like let me send 10 beats to Jadakiss, so I just get a trophy. Like you do things along the way and you're like, oh, that's tight. Like sometimes you need that motivation too, but like you really got to be doing it for yourself. Like you got to be doing it for yourself.
No, that's good advice, man. No, I 100% agree with that, and had many conversations with artists, because you do get tired and you do get tuckered out because sometimes you don't feel like you're where you want to be. And then you have to kind of ground yourself in that, right? You have to keep that in the forefront of your mind that you're doing it because you love to do it. Long before there was any thoughts of success or anything being bigger, you were doing it because you had passion for the music.
Yeah, it's just what you love to do.
Right.
No,
I feel it. I'm glad you said that. Now, I know you become like a master of creating these cool things, like this cool content, right?
I guess, man, I think it's shot out. I don't know. It's always like
cool. No, it's
cool. I think it's like very like tailored to who I am as a person. Like it's very like authentically me.
I think it's shot out.
I can't like overthink it. You know what I mean?
Where did that desire come from? Did you understand how important content was in today's society? Where did that desire for you to start creating this content come from?
Yeah, just to push the music.
Yeah.
Like
just a different way of promo.
Right. And like, I don't know, I always like being stupid. It's just more just like being with my friends and being stupid. And like half the shit I post online is just like what I would drop in a group chat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just like, what's the dumbest thing I can do? And yeah, that's what I run with. That seems like to be what people connect with me. But it was always just about like trying to push the music, trying to get the music heard. At some point, it felt like so many people were making music, and to a point where like there's so much quality music that you could listen to, that like something has to like stand out, like something has to push it.
Separate yourself from the pack,
right? You know, and I think for a long time I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to. I was like, it's just about the music. Like if I do anything besides that, like it's lame, it's corny.
Yeah, it's kind of tarnishing the
and then
artist, like, the artisan of it, or
yeah. But I think it's like it's a stuff in like self-respect for your art, and just like when I thought like that, it was like fear-based. You know, I was really just like afraid of like giving effort and it not being received, or like I just had to get over the fear of it and be like, oh yeah, that's right. Like none of this shit's real.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like none of this shit matters whatsoever. That's right. Let me do this. Let me sit in a bathtub full of Turner's iced tea. Like, I don't know. Like it got people to listen to the song, or it's just like it made people laugh or whatever. Like, but I don't know.
It was just a means to an end basically, and then it just turned into something more. You started really fucking with what you were doing anyway.
Yeah, I like doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like putting my face over like people's heads and shit, making fake news stories up like about me and Coyle Ray dating and shit. Like that's funny to me.
Yeah, and
that's what I enjoy doing.
And you also do the bootleg joints, right?
Right.
Explain to the people who may not be familiar with that, what the bootlegs are.
They're just remixes. You know what I mean? I'm just like remixing. Like I'm taking an acapella from something and I'm remixing it, like unsanctioned. So that's why I put the bootleg in there, just so. You know what I mean? I'm just jacking shit. Like rappers rapped on producers' beats forever.
Beats,
and those were mixtapes. So to me, it's just like a mixtape. Like I flip that. Like I'm jacking for vocals type shit.
You re-engineered it. You
And it's like there's a built-in audience. Like philosophically, like
Joe said he was gonna bring up the Turners.
There's like philosophically. You know, there's a built-in audience when I do a mixtape of all Earl Sweatshirt vocals. Like
Earl Sweatshirt fans are going to listen to.
Right. I didn't have to find Billy Hoyle fans. I could find Earl Sweatshirt fans.
And you could turn them into Billy Hoyle fans.
Right. You know, like, yeah. So that was like the idea of it. And then just like, honestly, man, like, I have to like keep coming up with shit in the studio to like keep it fun or exciting. And like I have approaches where like, I'm going to start with the drums, right? And then I'm chopping the sample after. I'm going to start with the sample. I want to make this type of beat, whatever. Like, you just, like, need a jumping off point a lot of the time. And, like, sometimes I just get sick of what I'm doing, and like, dragging in a vocal is, like, a fresh new way to make a beat. So it allows me to, like, continue to be in practice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't normally sit down and be like, let me bootleg this. Normally what happened is I've been making beats, and, like, I'm like, I ran my gambit, like I ran my bag. Then I'll do a couple of those, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like making beats too. You know, like it just like keeps me busy, keeps me active.
For sure. No, I know I enjoy them. Anytime I see you do them, and I love it when you take local artists and throw them on different joints too.
If anybody has any suggestions for songs, especially local artists, I was thinking about I'm So UT.
Yeah.
It's a classic. I'm gonna have to flip. I'm So UT.
That's funny that you even mentioned that. What up, JP? Yeah, man, do that. I'm sure the people appreciate it.
The Turners. Yeah, the Turners originally was Beatty and I had a song dropping with Vic Spencer, dope artist out of Chicago. And I was down at 5450. I was down at Daily Bread. We were working. It was like after hours, and Brick pulled up with like crates of Turners. Turner's carton, like big cartons. And I don't know why, I was just like, we had that song coming out. I was like, I think people would think it was funny if I sat in a bathtub full of Turners.
Was it Tupac inspired? Remember the Tupac picture in the?
Probably like subconsciously, but it was more inspired by, I was like, yeah, let me get like some of that Turners. Yeah. And I was just like, this is gonna be shot out. Yeah, it was just the dumbest thing I could think of.
Did you ask him to borrow his Turners?
Yeah.
Did he ask you what for?
Nah, he knew it was gonna be something stupid.
He didn't even ask you, bro?
Nah, I mean, he was, he had like, he had that much turn. He was giving it away. Like,
like,
every once in a while you get like dumped off like a bunch of stuff. Like, he had a bunch of Turners. Like that happens from time. He used to have a bunch of Red Bull all the time. Like, yeah.
No, that is dope. Whenever that does start to happen, you see that shit start to happen. I remember I used to go to the studio and see just like a whole bunch of Red Bull or stuff like that, and it just be sent to artists. Like artists just get sent stuff all the time.
Right.
Once you get to a certain level. No, that's fire. Did it get the outcome that you desired?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still getting like use out of it. I
Yeah.
used it for that like meme and shit with Joe for the song that dropped yesterday, Runner's High. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just funny. Like people attach to that type of shit. Like that would be like something I haven't seen somebody in a while. Like something, you know, definitely an icebreaker to bring up. So.
Like I seen that picture of you with the Turners, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, he said he didn't even realize it was a real pic.
Yeah. I mean, like it wasn't. I'm so UT, baby. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
Fuck with it.
JP's with us tonight.
Oh, hell
What
yeah.
up, JP?
Salute.
He said he's gonna take that joint and put it on a different beat, bro.
The Photoshop, it's not all Turners. Like I couldn't get enough Turners to fill the bathtub.
So
or like
the
I
Turner-
underestimated how much Turners I'd need. I just started putting water in that bitch at some point in like tea bags. But it's mainly Turners. It was for like the meme of it.
Damn, that's a lot of Turners.
Yeah, it would have been a lot.
All right, so we talked about creating the content, and I know you and I had a conversation, and I kind of wanted you to get into that a little bit too at one point in time, and you were just telling me about like how to tweak the algorithm and how that stuff works. Are you someone who like how did you stumble onto that information? How did you start to figure out like how to create this content and how to make it relevant and how to keep people coming back for it? Or did you just understand that consistency was the key of it?
I think I just like kind of notice. I understand my behaviors as a human and human behavior, and I assume on some level people behave similarly. You know what I mean? So I know what's I know what's engaging to me.
Right.
I know it across like a different. You know, I can see someone make a sandwich and it's engaged. Like, you know, like I can see it. So there's like a pattern there, and then at some point I just saw what you know, you just start to see names pop up again and again, right? And like, yeah, I mean, there's a built-in system where it's like this many people saw this or whatever. So I saw what people like resonated with. Yeah. And I just like followed that.
The more engagement you seen from certain material, the more you leaned into it.
Right. Yeah. And you just, I just would like notice a pattern or, like platforms always like release informational updates too. You know what I mean? Like, or if like a platform's pushing like a new feature, if you use that feature normally, like they reward you some type.
Oh, that's good game. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? That's just kind of like.
So kind of just paying attention to what's out there, being observant.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all a game, bro. You know what I mean? An algorithm's just like a puzzle or a game or something. Like they change things. It's like you can never really like figure it out, and it's like you got to create something people give a fuck about the first place. You know what I mean? Like anything like that you can do that's like savvy or anything is only gonna give you like more of a push and shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not gonna like, you know, focus on the music. If you do shit like that, focus on the music. Other shit will fill in. But you know that type of stuff, just like, you know, see what people engage with and like follow that. Give people what they want. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, bro. That's definitely a good game for those out there. JP said he'd love to see that. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. I'll work on that tonight. I'll work on that. I'm so UT. Yeah, I fuck with that heavy. I actually I wanted to wear an I'm so UT shirt. I wanted to get an I'm so UT shirt.
We can make that happen.
And wear it.
So we can get you the original one. We got JP on here, man. Get my man a shirt, bro.
Hell yeah.
Tell him what size you wear.
Large. Let me get a large.
Yeah, JP, hook him up. I know you still got some in inventory, bro. Hook him up with one.
I want to get that big Union Town shit up.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
So you're doing the content. Now let's get into some of the stuff you did with Beatty. You guys worked on a lot of material over the last few years. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of music out.
And I know you messed with Jams a lot too. We should get into some of that as well, right?
Yeah, James and I have a lot of stuff on the way for sure. I was just talking to him. He hit me with an idea the other day. James and I have a lot of shit on the way. He's a dude that's a lot of fun to work with for sure.
How did you end up getting introduced to Jams? Because Jams is based out of Chicago.
Right. So I had a blog back in the day, White Men Can't Blog, just like based off White Men Can't Jump, right? And a lot of dots, like that was another thing, just like Time Bomb connected me with people. Like I was blogging other people's music. Blogs were big at the time. You get connections. Like at a certain point I was just doing like Pittsburgh music, and then, you know, people outside of Pittsburgh start hitting you up, everything like that. But somewhere along that point, like, I connected with James. Like, this is like 2010, 2011, 2012. Like, then I was blogging his music. And, you know, some time went by. I wasn't really doing the blog anymore, and I was, like, a little bit more out there as a producer on social media. James was still doing his thing, and we just bumped into each other on Instagram.
Okay.
And he was, you know, just reconnected and was like, man, we should.
You guys were already familiar with each other, but this, in a new age of social media, it became even easier to become acquainted.
Right. And, you know, we were sending music back and forth, and at some point he hit me and he was like, man, like, let's do this in person. He flew out to Pittsburgh for like a long weekend. You know, I came to Chicago a few times. Then like he made like a longer trip to Pittsburgh, stayed for a minute, and we just locked in. And yeah, but I've known him for a minute for sure.
That's dope, man. Yeah. So you guys already knew each other, were already familiar with each other, were already both on the same path of music.
Yeah, we had like a lot of the same ideas, like philosophically too.
Yeah.
Like our view on thing and like our understanding and just like a match passion. Like that shit's as important as anything else, man. And like you just need like good energy around you too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like someone who is supportive. Like James was like, he liked the idea of me working with other artists too, because like I could connect with you, and then that's like you guys might connect or do a feature or something sound good. Like it just kind of
an extension. It became an extension of what he was doing,
and it keeps me off his back.
Yeah,
you know, it keeps you off an artist's back. I'm not gonna be like, yo, when are we dropping that song?
Because you're already occupied,
right? You know, you're doing things outside of that, so like it just made sense. And like he's a smart dude. He's just a good dude. Like will you know end up on the phone for like you know hours at times, just like chopping game. And like there's not always a lot of people I can talk to on that level, you know? So like having someone like that, but like when you connect with someone like that, like the music's always going to make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's no doubt about it. The music
becomes secondary at that point.
Right. And I think that's really how you truly craft a sound. Like when you really craft like something distinguishable, like that rare thing that people tap in at times that like can't be explained, like that's where you do it.
Yeah.
Like you do it like, first thing I'll do if artist comes to Pittsburgh, first time artist works with me, period, like, I want to, like when James first pulled up, like, the first thing I did was play him Puffin' on the Perp, you know, like, Old Wiz, Mac, Beatty, like, all these people we came up with.
Sound.
Right, you know? And, like, you know, for sure he was already familiar with some of it just because of, like, the things that had happened around here, but he put me onto all this, like, what makes you you? Like, I can sit here and tell you Kanye West all day. Like, Kanye was the first person, or, like, Premier was this or that. But, like, there's more to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's more, like, people that really made me feel like I could do it. Like, Germ and like, P. Fish for sure and stuff. Like, so, like, there's really people doing what I've always dreamed of doing. Like, introduce that person to you. Like, person you work with, like
that's a good transition, right? You mentioned Germ. You got a chance to collaborate with Germ, right?
Right.
You guys dropped a project.
You had to be there.
You had to be
with
there.
Beatty and Bill Waves.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
You know, we're all know each other, familiar with each other with like a long time. I've known Germ since like 2009, 2010, 2011.
Yeah, you guys got kind of a similar story. If y'all haven't had a chance, check out the episode with Germ, me and Big Germ, because he talks about Time Bomb and how that was influential upon his career in hip hop.
Yeah, so like we were all just already familiar, and then we were all like, I was working with Beatty and I were working so much, and then
him and Billy,
right, and then you know, Bill and I had talked about working at that point. I'm not sure how much music we had really done, but at some point it just made sense, like, to put that together. You know, it came together real organically. Like, I think like we solidified we were gonna work on that project, and I have 6 beats on there, right? I think I have 6. Germ has 6. Like, I had 5 of the 6 beats that they ended up using before that day ended, or before the next day ended. And then I had like the final beat for that, which I think was Star Player. I had that done by the end of the week. And Germ had all his beats in already too.
Yeah.
And both artists are writing one verse a piece as opposed to two. So like it came together like so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, it just
real
just made
naturally and
sense.
real easily.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a dope project and a lot of fun to hear. And you know, your sounds are very similar in ways too, right?
Right. Yeah, he's a big inspiration of mine. Like
Yeah.
he's a big reason I do what I do. Period. And it sounds how it sounds. Like I've always tried to like, you know, I feel like I do my own thing for sure, but I'd be remiss to not say he's a huge inspiration of mine.
Was that a milestone for you
sure.
as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time, for sure.
Yeah, man. How was the reception of that project? How'd you
I think it was well received for sure. You know, like there's people who have wanted to see that come together. You know what I mean? That have known we're working together and know that we are all known each other for a long time.
It makes sense.
And that the sounds go together and stuff. So yeah, it felt like people were waiting for it, and yeah, they're hyped when they got it for sure.
Yeah, man. No, for sure. I was I know I was excited to hear it. I went to the album release party. Didn't see you at the album release party, but I did. I was in attendance at the album release party. And it was a lot of fun.
I'm a recluse.
It felt like a moment. It felt like Pittsburgh hip hop for sure, like the golden age of Pittsburgh hip hop. You know, even the venue of the release party felt like one of those.
Hell yeah, man.
One of those moments.
Hell
So
yeah.
it was a good project.
I'm glad he had a good time.
For sure. You trying to play some jams for us, bro?
Yeah, I'll play some stuff.
Yeah, we'll play some jams. Then we'll get back into talking about the projects with you and BD, because we definitely want to talk about them.
Right on.
Which joint do you need? Do you need this one or the other one?
I got this as well. I'm currently working.
I think it's this one.
I don't think so. This is like an old school joint.
We got that too. Hold on.
Cool. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
got some projects that are pretty wrapped up. Me and Jayhawk have an album that's done.
Very dope.
Me and Vinny Radio have a project that's almost done.
Oh, that's crazy.
In the middle of it, at least.
I was just talking to Jayhawk. We're gonna have him come down here very soon.
Yeah, you got to, man.
Yeah.
We just got together the other day. We're putting the finishing touches on some things. We're got an album there.
You said in Vinny too.
Vinny, I got a lot of projects in the works right now, to be honest.
Hey, Vinny's an interesting artist, because I haven't seen this, but Fran's famous for telling a story about how Vinny doesn't write. He just sits there and cook up.
Yeah, Vinny's one of those dudes.
Yeah, man.
He's the man. That's why I'm selective with who I work with, because it's like this beat could have gone to Vinny Radio. You know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
What's the motherfucking business? I'm trying to tell you, it's hard not to kill you chicken head assholes talking all that
It's still playing.
Is it still playing? Nah, it's playing on my phone, but
We just can't hear it.
I'm using more regular, developing behavior.
It is playing now. Might as well kick it from the beginning. This is what happens when you go live, people. Sometimes you have technical difficulties, but we're gonna get y'all right.
What's
yeah, bro, it's gonna keep doing this. It's gonna keep doing this. Yeah. It's connecting like unconnecting.
Every now and then.
I'm trying to tell you, it's hard not to kill you chicken head
Yeah,
assholes talking all that motherfucking shit. But then that's all, so I done caught a few charges.
My phone's
I
15
ain't
years
scared to
old.
catch some more, you hear me, bitch?
Can a bitch breathing? Tell you that I chased her. I'm using more regular, developing behaviors. I come alive in the element of danger. Pellet spray remind mortal fellas of they nature. Helter skelter, summer swell, smell it in the air. Relish in the vapors. The terrorists to some, the others tell it I'm a savior. The helpless turn to prayer, while the rich get richer. How the hell ain't this? One of hell's layers. I inhale and quell the haters. Know it's fire when you can smell the flavors. My soul burden's growing while my head empties, cause these days ain't too many things that's worth notice. More podcasts yapping, and I keep scrolling. Fuck these niggas talking about Miss B nasty posted. I see too many bozos judging all women. Ain't no more natural hustle than to use what God's given. Autonomy of your anatomy, baby. Give up even 1% would be a tragedy, baby. Got a wardrobe with more flows, and that new drops every season. I think this a 2016 fit. The thing is, to me, you pussy like Heathcliff. You starting to push me to where feet meet cliff. Heard your last CD was an easy skip. They must be making these niggas on the 3D print radio. And I don't wanna see my people hurt no more, no. This life too hard, this life too long, so I ain't trying to see my mother go to work no more, no. Yo, they might have held us down before, but them tired ass tricks don't work no more, no. Take me to the lake and cleanse me. Who gon' stand with me, Benz? Who gon' stand on it? Who gon' step over me if the band's falling? Who gon' guide my hand and relieve my pain? No stage, no DJ, she gon' scream my name. Soul glow with the neon flame. Freon in my veins, me ops die slow with me on they brain. Radio.
That's one of them. I like
That's you on Vinny?
ones. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Play some Me and Hawk next.
Yeah, man.
The money's not even about the money. Fuck the money. I lost my daddy's watch.
All comes back when your time is up. Clock's running out, then your time is up. No matter what you do now or what you do then, you can't turn back the hand. Test over page down when your time is up. Before you know, man, your time was up. No matter what you did then or what you do now, can't turn back. Here we go. Here's a J-Hawk song. Take some time, not long. Started off weak, but when they got strong, reckon with the force. The OGs passed it down, now I'm stepping with the torch. Like the wake when the skies are gray. No time wasted, it's assumed they be a shame, a detriment, of course. Separate divorce from these constructs is relative. The only power I ever have is the power you get. Hate to say we took the hub for granted. Seems the liquor stores and funeral homes are still standing. Built manager, don't care, I'm a good tenant. He won his unit vacant, I just want to make ends meet and cop bread for sandwiches. Damn, I can handle it, just need more time. If I could put together a decent rhyme, I know the payment stops. He said it ain't my problem, so who you blaming, Hawk? Soon as you leave the apartment, I'ma change the lock. All comes back when your time is up. Clock's running out, then your time is up. No matter what you do now or what you do then, you can't turn back the hand. Test over page down when your time is up.
Album just starting to get on the way, but we definitely have like a good amount of things together.
Remember you mentioned Boss earlier.
Look, I'm a habitual baller, I can't stop. This shit get deep, pass me the rock. You smell what I'm cooking, bitch, look in the pot. I'm having my way if you like it or not. I ain't come to play Chick-fil-A with the sauce. I'll call it a day when I make me a knot. Bitch from the A and she think it's the plot. She don't rock the boat, the kayak, or the yacht. Yeah. She don't rock the boat, the kayak, or the yacht. She poured up some drink and I poured up some jars. Shit like a gift, how I opened her box. I opened her mouth and I juggled her thoughts. And I just slide like the arms of my watch. She let me slide like the arms of my watch. I don't do the diamonds, I lower the stock. I came from the bottom, not far from the top. Trapping ain't day, you just scared of the cops. I keep a look of white on the block. If it ain't about business, I don't wanna talk. I've been in the gym, I'm perfecting my shot. The world on my shoulders is not hard to squat. A lot is for simple, my soul can be bought. I bought a drop and I'm dropping the top. It's cold as a brick, but I'm hotter than hot. I cannot slip, I watch out for the mobs. It's bossy versus me, I don't have any ops. I always get even, cause that be the odds. Cause I just keep going and I never stop. All of this paper on me ain't a prop. It's spherical game that I got. I'm a habitual baller, I can't stop. This shit get deep, pass me the rock. You smell what I'm cooking, bitch, look in the pot. I'm having my way if you like it or not.
Yeah, man. try to smoke? Yeah. You got something?
Nah.
Roll up, what about you?
Nah, I ain't got shit.
Either, man. I'm about to. Shit.
Cruising to the black, window half crack, got my hat to the back, crank this jam to the max, bobbing to the track, while I getting fat, gotta sit it on my lap, cause it's freaking on my back, hey, sitting on my bum, don't feel like getting up, give me practice speed run, where you get that weed from, need a cut, need a skunk, here we come, diddy dum dum dum, diddy dum dum dum, diddy dum. I need some weed, mama. No, you wouldn't dare go and light it without me, mama. I crack a green palmer. Don't even need a ground to break it with my fingertips. Wouldn't say I'm drinking, but I've taken many sips. As long as I ain't faded, I done paid my dues, a little tools and fuel, so niggas can't hate it. Get with the program. I say we gon' burn. Bitch, I'm a grown man. It's for my hard earned. The blunts I'm gon' shun. If I don't wanna pass what's nice of me in the first place, with samples of the gas, haters get mad, man. So hot. I light fires, got me feeling like Hasselhoff. And night rider, bending corners through the strip, bring the wave near you. When I gas up this whip, it just say where to. Bury us with the Jordans, but I'll flame me a suit. The master of this recording, I should head to the stoop. That's why I'm cruising to the black, window half crack, got my hat to the back, crank this jam to the max, bobbing to the track, while I getting fat, gotta sit it on my lap, cause it's freaking on my back, hey, sitting on my bum, don't feel like getting up, give me practice speed run, where you get that weed from, need a cut, keep it strong, here we come, diddy dum dum dum, diddy dum dum dum, diddy dum. I need some weed, mama. No, you wouldn't dare go and light it without me, mama. We blowing peach cobbler, Georgia pie, cookies, all the desserts. Put it in 1 L5, see if all of them work. Got them looking mortified, feeling dumb as the dirt. High as a motherfucker. We mixing classic perp with Alaskan thunder fuck. Roll it 1 joint rip, then you just double up. Told the drum with the bubble butt. And the whipper blowing pepper, crack the window, get a whiffer, pass the bar to the sinners in the club. With the strippers, get the love from the bitches. Got the drugs from my niggas in the black bands. Black van, might have been a sprinter. Now there it goes, spoiling your dinner. We left it on the stove and put the foil on your dinner. Let's rotate them tires, change the oil for the winter. Just when you thought it was over, it's really the beginning. Now, dum diddy dum, dum diddy dum dum.
My brother told me keep your head up, I told him I don't know where I'm going.
Let's go.
Alright, check it out, you know what the fuck it is. Yeah. Try to write a verse like me, I'll take you to the cleaners. You don't do shit but sit at home. I rip a holes in my sneakers, flying down the stairs on tippy toes, spinning like ballerinas. Been through the ringer, motherfucker. He pussy rappers for dinner, now I'm feasting. Taste your blood, now I'm fiending. Can't make this up, so it frees me. Get head almost every evening. I'm saying fuck you so freely. Can't fuck with me, I'm a genius. My mental health disintegrated. I'm talking group homes and COs, searching my mouth for pills. I can't forget the Chi-Chi. Some ramen noodles with Slim Jims, hot pickles, peanut butter, and cheeses. Because the meat on my dinner tray was green, and I wouldn't eat it. Selling weed on state probation, the type of shit I believe in. Your mom's mouth, put it deep in. I'm a father to these rappers, you're breathing heavy. I smoke the thin papers, you're green as a leaf, I'm seasoned. And your wildest dreams could've seen me, I'm my own therapist. I told me don't be a bitch, but just take it easy, motherfucker. Check it out. You know what the fuck it is, been true as the color blue. When we lost a brother's, life hasn't been the same since. But I promised myself I wouldn't be one of those men that grow old and never shut up.
Yeah, run one more.
I could play shit all night, honestly, but I don't want
to. Yeah, we'll run one more for the people for sure. I like the jams.
Ooh. It's hating again.
We're gonna get right to this. Positively have to have a bona fide answer.
Look, it goes on and on, you don't stop it. Tote blocks that throw rockets and flow stocks that grow profits. Faces frozen in shock like Botox on host watches. Turn a God-fearer to a faucet. Prostrate for me, but she arch it at the right angle. Summertime and my white buffies like Angel. Summertime and the hoes dressed like Kurt Angle. Asses out, and that's my rapper paper than the label. These ain't fables, these facts. Your baby radio back, hands on your knees, ho, make it go clap. Off the vacation, suffer from work withdrawal. Know the game got solved, but I work with y'all. First of all, these verses need worship, pal. Got you on the right path like a service stall. Pulled up, tuned up like a service call. Ready to slide on a nigga like a Birkin stop balls. I'm like the first drop of blood in your cough. See me, then it's time to make peace with your God. Like police finna draw, we gon' reach for the stars. Either call CPS, how we beat in the yards. Everything larger, my cheddar reach farther. Just need to eat my harm and please, Heavenly Father. Feels so good when your effort means dollars. I know you proud watching. Rest in peace, Roger Radio. What she want, what she need, when she come, what she green, what's her name, what she scream, radio. But what does it mean? How we submarine maneuver through the flooded scene? Ain't no competitors, we in another league. Too comfortable, my nuts swing like butterbean. Who you got that bounce like double D cups on your subs? The submachine guns to the very light. I already know radio with the fresh fits. The boys so clean, on radio, Eddie, yo. I'ma stop there, man. Look, Billy. I got a hook.
Yeah, and then it's just like kind of a voicemail from there on that. But yeah,
man,
some new joints.
I love the vibe of it, and it reminds me of like what you see in hip hop today, like what's coming back, right? The real lyricism, the real soulfulness, like the essence of the real essence of hip hop, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
it sounds like Bodie James and some of that stuff that's really going on today. And I love that, and I love that that's coming back, and people are getting back to the essence of hip hop, which I don't think it ever went anywhere. I think it was just. I
mean, the zeitgeist pushes something forward every once in a while. Like things are like cyclical, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like boom bap and golden era will be popular now. Like traditional trap will make a comeback in 3-5 years, and the cycle continues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right now, it's getting the shine of it all. You know what I mean? Or like. A lot more shine than it was. I don't know that it's like necessarily where like commercial music is at, but you know what I mean? It's definitely got a spotlight on it right now, which is great.
Yeah, I agree with that. 100%. It all comes back around. It all moves in circles, and
right.
And it's definitely coming back to the forefront. Like you said, commercial music's going to be that. It's always going to be the top 40 or whatever. But
sure, if it works well enough in the underground, eventually it will bleed into.
It'll surface into the top.
Right. Like I think that chick who just won Album of the Year.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Dolce.
Yeah, I feel like there's elements of that in there. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely elements in there, whether it's if you're looking at just the tempo of the songs or just what drum samples they're using and stuff. Like it bleeds in and stuff for sure. But yeah.
Now the projects with you and Beatty, how did you two link up to go on that run? Because it was a crazy run,
right?
It's been a crazy run that you guys have been on. How did that come about? What started that run with you guys?
That was just being around one another. You know what I mean? Like being on the same page, and a lot of that was like during lockdown. You know what I mean? And I was on house arrest right before the pandemic started, so like just sitting there and doing it.
Had a lot of time on your hands.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And that's who I was spending the time with. And
how did it start out? Did it start off as a song that turned into an album? Did it start off with the idea that you guys were going to make an album together?
We were just making, like, I was just making beats at the crib, you know what I mean? And BD had, like, I think, I don't want to speak for anyone. I think he was at, like, a crossroads with music and had taken a step back for himself for a little bit of time. And, we were just making music,
Got
just
back into what we were talking about,
and,
the passion of it.
Right. And I think, it definitely, like, it always has to start with, like, one song or one beat. But it just, like, kind of made sense at that point. Like, I don't know, like, let's say, like, that was, like, 2017, 2018 that, like, we started working in that direction. And, like, I got down with, like, Westside and them in, like, 2016, right? And to me, that's just, like, that's where it was moving. And I think we both kind of saw it that way, and it was like, I don't know, as a rapper, like, we were talking about me feeling like sometimes I don't have control of everything, but you know how much it takes as a rapper if you're working with 15 different producers to eventually get everything cleared for the album, get it together, getting it organized, making sure that beat didn't go anywhere, it's still available. So, like, you minimize a lot of shit that sucks about making and releasing music when you work with one other person.
Right.
You know,
and they also have an invested interest in that project, right? It's not just a one-off for them.
Right. How many times have you bought a beat or something, or bought it, like, you know, worked with someone, and then it doesn't get pushed by that person,
right.
or it's like, you know, this other
and then
person.
It doesn't
like,
feel the same either, right? Like,
right.
if I release a project produced by whomever and they don't do anything with it or
right.
share it or show any interest in it, then it just kind of seems like.
So, to us, it just like, it made sense, you know
right.
what I mean? But like, it was all very organic. Like, we didn't sit down and we're like, we need to do this so that we could do that and like put out like the 5 albums.
What was the first project? Was it Billy Hoyle?
Billy Hoyle.
Billy Hoyle?
The combination of our 2 names. He's the Beat Bully. Yeah. Me being Billy Hoyle, but
Yeah. That was the first official project?
Yeah, he released the album before that called Good Things Take Time, and I produced a joint on there called Then and Now.
Yeah.
And that was like from the Beat Bully Hoyle sessions, but it landed there. And then we did we did Beat Bully Hoyle 1.5.
Yeah.
Which was all producer remixes of the tracks, like different producers remixed the joints. And then we did Very Legendary was the second one.
Yeah, I love that project.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then we did, I can't remember the order of them. My memory's short.
No, it's all good. Let's touch on Very Legendary, because I was around you as you were going through that project, and I love just the concept of it and how you said, like, we understand, like, this isn't going to be very legendary to begin with, but it's the
I mean, there's a
idea.
tongue-in-cheek element of it, right? Like,
right.
we believe in what we're doing, and to us, it is, like, monumental.
Right.
Like, us doing that music together, I think, was a long time coming. And, you know, BD's held a certain space in music for a long time. Like, you know, he's had an established audience and fan base and things. And I think us coming together and doing that and whatnot, like, it's tongue-in-cheek because it's just, like, you know, it is what it is. Like,
right.
we understand the ridiculousness of it, or, like, you know, whatever. But at the same time, it was, like, you know, he's getting his bars off. Like, he's talking his shit. It's like, yeah, we are them. Like, any way you want to cut the pie, like, we do this shit. Like,
right.
You know?
Yeah. No, for sure. And like I said, it's just been a run, like, ever since, right? From the first project on, and like we touched on the Collab project with Waves and Germ as well, and then you guys just kept going.
Right. Yeah.
What is it like when you're locked in with an artist like that and you got that chemistry? Does it just become effortless at some point?
You know, elements of it are definitely effortless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, with anything, like, maintenance is like something that's difficult. Like, it's easy to get into something and out of something, but it's difficult to keep something running at a certain place. But like, the maintenance of it just made sense. Like, we were just on the same page a lot. Like,
yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
It just became natural.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it. So you played us a little sneak peek of what's coming up. What can we expect for you coming up?
Gonna have the album with Jayhawk. That's probably the next thing. I got a new bootleg album. Like, I did that one with Earl, like, Don't Go Outside. I made that all in a week during, like, the lockdown. Flipped like 10 of his joints. I have a Booty James project like that.
Oh, that's fire.
That I've released right now. I'll release a lot of projects as, like, friends and family, like, exclusive access, and then later just, like, you know, put it out at some point. I'll probably release that in the next couple of months. We probably got the Jayhawk album coming early May. I'm working with my homie this kid out in Lincoln, Nebraska. His name's Lincoln Alexander. We have an album that's like, we have almost all the demos done for it. It's going to be like 8 joints, I think.
That's crazy. How'd that come about?
You know, just
Internet.
connected. Yeah, just connected. Like, you know, a lot of, you know, you get a lot of listeners from, like, the BD projects and things like that.
Right.
And the cool thing is like, a good amount of them are, like, you know, you get a lot of fellow artists and things. Right. So,
the work you put in, the seeds that you sowed are starting to blossom.
Right. He reached, you know, we spoke at one point where like, yeah, this makes sense. Like the sound seems to make sense. This could work in a good direction. That's like, you know, we're tying like the bows on that right now. Like we're trying to get like the last 2 songs. Like,
Okay.
you know, it might be the next 2 songs we make. It might be
The next 4 songs you make.
next 20.
Down into,
you know, I mean, it could be like
Yeah.
whenever you have them, you have them. You don't necessarily know what they sound like until they sound that way.
Right.
And they fit into the puzzle. Me and Bossy, like a lot of these people, it's just like I work on music with them, right? And like eventually you have an album.
Right.
Like it's not always like, well, let's make like 7 songs and then we'll have 7 songs for an album, because like probably at least like 2 of those songs are gonna be like,
no, that's not it.
not of the equal quality. Like
Yeah.
just, you know, if you want to up your quality, like the easiest thing to do is like trim the fat.
Right.
You know, if you want 10 songs, then like make 10 and then like trim 4 them away and then make 10 more. And
yeah.
then, you know, it like day and age, like it you can self-record and self-engineer and things before sending it off to a mixing and mastering
Right,
engineer.
right.
Why not make as much music? Like use your resources as a strength. So I think like that's everyone I work with or gravitate towards seems to like understand that and beyond that. And I think that's why it kind of works.
No, 100%, man. No, I know I'm looking forward to everything you got upcoming.
Oh yeah.
Love all the stuff that you've been doing, that you've done so far. Definitely keep the bootlegs coming.
I will for sure.
You know, definitely keep the content coming. You know, definitely find that entertaining in itself. And I appreciate you coming down here to join us on the world's dopest podcast, the Marley State of Mind podcast, down here at a Bunch of Bull Studios. It's always great, man. You're a legend in my book, for sure. You know what I mean? And I always get excited whenever, you know, I get a chance to have a conversation with someone like yourself who got so much skin in the game.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you having me on for sure. Had a good time. I like shooting the shit. And,
Yeah, man.
You know, for sure.
For sure, man. And, you know, we'll be back next week with another episode of Marley State of Mind with another special guest. Also check in with us on Fridays. We got Vision Talks at 2 o'clock. We also have the Stash Spot review with Jesse and them guys at 6 o'clock on Friday. So make sure y'all there for all of that. And I'll be here Saturday nights at 8 o'clock. Marley State of Mind podcast, the world's dopest podcast. Billy Hoyle, I appreciate you so much, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir. Till next time, we're out of here. Peace.
The General.